It seems like the Fed just saved crypto. And I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous because wasn't it the Fed in the first place that wrecked us all? And that is true. All right, Jerome Powell, he deserves some, all right? Not an applause. Definitely none of that. But over the past couple of hours, for some reason, the probability of a Fed rate cut in December has all of a sudden started to surge again, right now being at 70% chance that they're going to be cutting the rates in December. And all of a sudden here right now, 73.3. And early today, this was like 49 or something like that. So also, the stock market, cryptos, everything decided to go up ever so slightly based on this news. And there's one piece of news you guys need to see. This single-handedly could push us back above all of this dippiness. There's one piece of content you've got to see right now that can just change absolutely everything. Take a look at this.
Bitcoin is like at 81, and you're looking at what I regard as being the single worst moment in this decline was the moment between 330 and 430. And then Williams comes on, and then suddenly everything's fine. I don't think so.
You don't think everything's fine?
No, there's a lot of people who have to get out. Let them get out. This is not what suddenly they wave a magic wand. We obviously have real issues. We have issues with the building out the data center unlimited. We have issues with a lot of people, the strategies.
And on that note, here's 𝗏𝗏𝗏. He had an interesting couple of words. I want CZ, Donald Trump, and the entire 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 team locked up with haste. No trial. And then somebody had a funny little post saying, our GOAT would never let this happen, talking about Gary Gensler. Just thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, the last couple of weeks have been really, really dire. And it's a good question, If you've been losing tremendous amounts of schmeckles, ask yourself, where exactly did it go wrong? Because on the one hand, we've gone down so hard with such crazy liquidation numbers that it makes a lot of sense. On the opposite side, we're not doing that bad. I mean, Bitcoin is still at $84,000. XRP is still at a 4x from the lows at which it traded at forever. Like, why is this dip so freaking hurtful? And I guess it's just because when you go down from new all-time highs, you're not prepared for it. And because it's been 3 years of mostly upwards, and then to get a good correction like this going, it just hurts you in a different spot. But in reality, as I've said 1,000 times, if you're able to get through this, there's a very good chance that in the end, it'll be worth it to just keep on buying, continuing on. Partially just to prove guys like Jim Cramer wrong. He is always wrong about his predictions. So he just flipped bearish on Bitcoin. I flipped bullish. That's one. And on the opposite side, right now, it's an interesting world. What is making our prices go up and down? NVIDIA, S&P, all this? NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said the whole world would have fallen apart if they missed earnings in Q3. That would have been really, really interesting. And actually, matter of fact, right now, there's a lot of speculation and a lot of fear surrounding Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, right? The fund, the biggest Bitcoin holdings company, let's call it, treasury company. And I said before that I kind of feel as if we're close to a Bitcoin bottom purely because of the amount of fear there is for MicroStrategy. Everybody all of a sudden is saying, if Bitcoin falls $5,000 more, we can go to zero. And all of a sudden, that fear that we brushed off last week of quantum computing is all of a sudden coming back to people are starting to find fear in all different corners. And it's making me realize this is probably the area to start looking at serious buys again. All right, I've not been aggressively buying yet because when a knife is falling, you don't really try to catch it, right? I'm doing some small buys. But right now, I'm seriously adding to my position from basically $83,000 and lower. Just now, we get ourselves a nice 18.5K dip. I know also logically that we could fall way lower, sure. And it's something you always got to keep in the back of your head. But at the end of the day also, risk it for the biscuit, huh? And by the way, if you're not done yet, make sure you go ahead and press the like button on this video. And I'll say one more thing. And also, for all of you that did not check it out yet, check out the link down below to our Telegram. It's a free group where we post signals and basically have all sorts of different updates, analysis, and whatnot. It's the first link in the description down below. Make sure you check it out if you've not done it yet. Absolutely free and pretty wonderful thus far over the past week or so. We've been doing really, really well. And by the way, the announcement from the Fed that caused the probabilities to spike again was mostly this. I'm going to assume White House advisor 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 says data suggests the Federal Reserve should actually cut interest rates in December. And remember also one more point. Even though Polymarket, CME Group, they're all against this, or at least they were against the rate cutting before, At the end of the day, we've also got Trump still ahead of us. He can still kind of do some funny business over there by all of a sudden just saying, Powell, it's this or firing or squad. But anyway, let's move on with the news. So Michael Saylor, as a response to all the negativity throughout the day, right, all the fear-mongering throughout the day, he had a few posts, some of which just stated that they're holding strong, and some of which like this: response to MSCI index matter. Strategy is not a fund, not a trust, and not a holding company. We are a publicly traded operating company with a $500 million software business and a unique treasury strategy that uses Bitcoin as productive capital. This year alone, we've completed 5 public offerings of digital credit securities: STARK, STRV, STRD, STRC, and STRE, representing over $7.7 billion in notional value. We've also launched 𝗓𝗏, a revolutionary Bitcoin-backed treasury credit instrument that provides variable monthly USD yield to institutional and retail investors. Funds and trusts passively hold assets. Holding companies sit on investments. We create, structure, issue, and operate. Our team is building a new kind of enterprise, a Bitcoin-backed structured finance company with the ability to innovate in both capital markets and software. No passive vehicle or holding company could do what we're doing. Index classification doesn't define us. And what they're talking about partially here is the fact that people are saying if MicroStrategy does bad at the end, they could actually get delisted off of NASDAQ. Our strategy is long-term, our conviction is in Bitcoin, and it's unwavering, and our mission remains unchanged: to build the world's first digital monetary institution on a foundation of sound money and financial innovation. And the thing is, what can you say against this guy? I mean, they had a mission: buy more Bitcoin, do everything Bitcoin, be Bitcoin, so to speak. And they're sticking to it, not changing. But I think that's pretty badass, my honest opinion on the matter. Now, there was also some speculation going around by these scammers that there's an emergency Fed meeting going around, but there doesn't really seem to be any. So I think these people are just lying to you. And another little fun fact: if you're watching the market crash now and you think, oh, this never happened, this entire bull run, remember back in July 25th here, I made a video that did pretty well talking about us crashing and what we were going to do. I kind of want to repost this video just now purely because of how funny it was, and I might do that later today. And actually, this post by CZ from 5 years ago is also kind of funny. Waiting for new headline: Bitcoin crashes from 101,000 to 85,000. Saved the tweet. I actually saved it. And it's kind of funny how in 2020, nobody really thought that this was a reality, right? I mean, at this point, Bitcoin just came from the depths at $3,000. And the highest point we'd seen was probably around that day. I'm not sure how high the price went by that point. Or it was the 2017 top, because the 2021 top, of course, is still like a year away. So it's kind of funny how whenever I look at old posts as well, talking about Bitcoin at 500,000 or even at 50,000, if we're looking even more years back, it's kind of funny how you couldn't see a logical path and every dip looked like it was going to be the end of the world. And then you look back a few years and realize, oh, we were talking about these crashes, we were talking about these moves as if they were really scary, but in the end, they were nothing in comparison to what we're facing right now. And the prices are so much higher than whatever we were discussing back then. Don't be a little whiny ass. Again, this Bitcoin chart right now, we've gone from about 85.5K all the way back down to 82 just now over the past, I'm going to say hour or so. I understand that it's not going to be easy. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but I'll counter that by saying if it was easy, everybody would be rich. The hard part is seeing through the charade, realizing that they want you out. They really want you out. And the moment most likely that you decide to sell and you give up is where we go to the freaking promised land. So if you're going to do something good for your fellow peers, give up, sell everything at a massive loss, and hopefully we could take the victory from there. But on the opposite side, and just on a real note, I think it's all manipulated. I think it really is all just to get you to basically take as much of a loss as possible, because the more that you lose, the more that another person can win, right? So it's never going to be straightforward. It's always going to be confusing, and it always gets darkest before the brightest of lights. Keep it in the back of your head. Remember that. And see you guys again in another crypto video somewhere later today. But a lot of fear going on today. I don't think it's necessary or warranted, but remember, there could be rate cuts within a month, and all of a sudden the market is as bullish as we've ever seen. With the Luna situation, it was 6 weeks of down. It was crazy. It was bad, sure, but it was 6 weeks of down. 8 weeks of down, I should say. Right now, we are 6 weeks of down, and we're acting like the whole world is collapsing. It could literally be so that in 2 weeks from now, we're back above $120,000. We'll act like none of this ever happened. And I know it can be hard for people to see that vision, especially with XRP and coins like that bouncing back off of like these previous lows of lows. It can be hard, but remember, it could very well just be some flickering of a shadow. Remember, XRP also went from $3.40 all the way back down to $1.60 before bouncing back up. This exact move that we're seeing right now for XRP has happened before. Yet this time around when it's happening, you're acting all surprised and all scared, like, right? Back then, if you had actually been a freaking man, you bought that dip, look at the gains you would have made, 100% gains over the next 4 months or so. Remember, this could happen again. I'm not saying it will, I'm just saying it could very well happen again. Nothing is stopping it from doing so. And just because equities keep going down doesn't mean that cryptos have to. Remember that? Make sure you press the like button. See you guys again in another crypto video somewhere later today.